After finishing up the Pokemon Nuzlocke video a few months ago, I started to feel really good about the channel just in general. I was getting pretty consistent views, felt great about my editing, and got some nice feedback as well. And all from me just utilizing a stream series I did for Twitch. So I decided, why not do it again? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love doing those Touhou Alive videos, and I'm happy about how they came out, but they were exhausting to make. So now, I'm just doing a nice and easy video that is reusing a Twitch stream I did. Please don't think any less of me for this, college is stressful enough as it is. So, what would I use for this? It didn't take me long to land on something, as about a year ago I streamed Fire Emblem 7 on Hector Hard Mode as a kinda Iron Man run. It wasn't a full one because I'm a loser, but it's not like I reset and rewind every death either. It was a really fun time, so I just decided, why not do a video with it in the same vein as the Nuzlocke video? I had a great time with that. So what are my rules? Well, I have Iron Man rules laid out, but with some caveats to make things easier on me. For one thing, I had my friends vote on 3 characters to be the Lord's A supports. This meant that they were immortal. If they ever died, I would rewind or reset. Also, Lord Deaths won't reset the run, I'm not a masochist. Today. Lastly, I have 3 freebies. If someone died in the game, I could use up one of those 3 freebies to bring them back. Be assured that this will be used responsibly. Promise. Well, without further ado, let's start this journey. I decided to start off with Lyn Hard Mode first. As she works as a tutorial, you can do her story and go right into Hector Hard Mode right afterwards. Don't expect the run to be all that interesting for the first 10 or so chapters because, well, Lyn Mode is piss easy. Hard Mode doesn't even give you a good challenge because the enemies don't have any additional stats, the maps are already super easy, and the only thing it really changes is that you don't get tutorials. So don't expect this section to be all that long. The reasons why I did this was to, 1, do the story as a sort of complete experience, and 2, well, I want to get early level ups on some characters. We start the run naming our tactician Polo, like Marco Polo, because their base name is Mark. If you hate this joke, blame my good friend Naoto who joined me for most of these sessions. He came up with the name. Prologue has no variants except for Lyn's level up, which was actually pretty nice. Chapter 1 we get Sane and Kent, and I decided to base who I would use, for a bit, on who got the better level up. It was Kent. Which I'm fine with, I quite like Kent. The most that happens in Chapter 2 is that Lyn gets hit by a lucky hit, so I have to rescue her. Other than that, just general Chapter 2 shenanigans. We also get Lyn's personal weapon that lets her be usable for roughly 30 fights until it breaks. But this is also Lyn mode, so she can at least get some good experience. Chapter 3, and this is where we meet Florina and Will. Will is bad, so I pass on him this playthrough. However, I will be using Florina since she was voted for Lyn's A support, because my friend group likes mediocre Yuri. To be fair, it's probably the best you can get in FE7. For the chapter I do the usual strategy of letting Florina deal with the mercenaries up top while Kent holds the choke. Florina disappoints me, and then we defeat the boss. Chapter 4 is our introduction to defense chapters, and we get Dorcas, who I love, but won't use this playthrough. Kent just deals with the bottom part of the map, Will takes out the left side, and then Florina deals with the mercenary reinforcements. Chapter 4 is super easy. Most notable thing is that Florina got this same exact battle level up, which is hilarious to me. Chapter 5 is uber easy, but at least we get Urk and Sarah. That's neat. Florina finally gets a great level up. Yeah, this chapter ain't notable. Chapter 6 gives us a Seraph robe. That's neat. And Wrath, who I don't use. Oh, and I also completely forgot about this guy right here, who is uber racist. Chapter 7 gives us Lucius, who I want to use, so I just feed as many kills in Lyn mode as I can to him. Florina was able to kill the boss pretty early, so we get to go to the Gaiden chapter. It also isn't that notable. Chapter 8 has a ballista. Florina deals with it. Easy chapter. Now Chapter 9 is funny because we get Wallace and the Knight's Crest. With Lyn Hard Mode removing the forced promotion, we can actually use the Knight's Crest on someone else. The popular choice is Sane, but since I've raised up Kent, I can promote him and get myself a second early game Jigen. I won't be using him in the long run, so promoting him early is perfectly okay with me. I also used the energy ring on Sarah to boost up her healing. Either way, we completely destroyed the final chapter, grinded a bit on Lungering, and got a buff Kent for the beginning of Hector Hard Mode. With that, Lyn mode is finished, and we can actually start the game. We finally, officially start our Hector Hard Mode journey, and we... Damn it! Okay, we reset, and get through rather comfortably for the first chapter. So long as you don't rush things, it isn't too difficult. I just had to be pretty cautious with Matthew since he's barely gotten any experience. Moving on to Chapter 12, we get a bunch of new units to play with. For one thing, I plan on using Oswin for a decent amount of the game because he's really damn good, especially for someone like me who plays these games a little slower compared to most. We will also use Sarah as our main healer because she was deemed our champion for Hector's A support. They don't even have a paired ending. Whatever, I like Sarah anyways. We also get all of Elliewood's squad. Marcus is a fantastic unit to rely on for a good part of the game. Lowen is the middest of mid-cavaliers, and we've been through Dorcas. Now Bartrey and Rebecca, these two are definitively shit in this game. Both have decent growths, but their bases are abhorrent. Which is why I'm using both of them. Listen, one of the most fun things for me to do in an FE game is to use some awful units. It's super satisfying for me, so these two will be our projects for this playthrough. And yeah, if you want proof with Bartrey's shitty bases, yeah. While the group up top seems like they're in a bit of a pickle, Hector and Oswin are strong enough to take out everything, so long as I keep the squishies back, everything's okay. Either way, Chapter 12 wasn't too bad. When it came to Chapter 13, I divided up my party to have Elliewood and the Axe Fighters go up top, and the rest of the army goes down south. The southern path is heavy with enemies, so I'll need everyone I can get. Rebecca has gotten some amazing level ups, which may or may not make her passable. I do get a little scared for the top gang because I forgot to give them many wounds, but ultimately we're able to get through the chapter without many issues. Chapter 13X is annoying as hell. A defense chapter in fog of war with limited space, and a bunch of enemies on all sides. Things actually went super well at the beginning since I had my great units go up top to deal with the majority of the units, Elliewood to mainly take on the left side, and Bartrey and Guy at the bottom. This proved to be a very viable strategy. Until Rebecca got hit by 2 brigand hand axes. I wanted to use my shitty archer unit, and now she's gone. Which marked the first death of the entire run. Which really hurt because she got a strength level up right before the death. Whatever, the rest of the chapter went smoothly, but at this point I was super depressed. Anyways, I was still pissed about Rebecca starting Chapter 14, so I offered up Urk to the gods. Now you might be wondering, why didn't I just keep him alive to keep an early game age? Screw you, that's my reasoning. Once you survive the first few turns, this chapter isn't that bad. The enemy quantity is a massive problem at the beginning, but thinning out their numbers makes the chapter a lot more manageable. Marcus can be sent down to the bottom of the map to pick up Priscilla, who I will not use because she's a dirty brother kisser, and the rest can run it down main. Hector also destroys the cavalry with his wolf bale, including the boss of the chapter. I wanted to give Bartrey a kill on the boss to get him more experience, but he misses and then nearly dies because he gets doubled by brigands. Did he at least get some speed after all the pain he put me through this chapter? Nope. Speed is one of his better growths, by the way. After that whole mess, the chapter went smoothly. As for Chapter 15, we killed the boss on turn 3 to make things easy on me. Hey, I never said I wouldn't cheese some of these chapters. But yeah, the chapter is very easy to defend once the boss is done for. This ended off my second session, and for the third Okay, so I actually went back and brought back Rebecca. I used one of my 3 freebies on her. I didn't decide on this rule until this happened, so you can very well say I'm cheating, but don't worry, I got some karma for this. For instance, my Elliewood is now awful! And this, no doubt, had giant negative ramifications throughout the entire game. So don't worry, Rebecca's sinful resurrection does not go unpunished, and I continue onwards. Chapter 16 grants us the Lynn Brigade again, where Florina's pretty damn nice. Kent came out pretty decent, especially for this point, and Lynn, is unfortunate as well. The roughest part about this chapter is dealing with Lynn's group on the bottom right, as they are pretty well surrounded and are overall kind of frail. Thankfully, with Kent acting as a second Jagan, I can stay pretty safe, and the rest of the chapter is just about cleaning up carefully. The terrain makes it very easy to work around enemies. Enemy quality isn't that high in FE7, which is a massive reason why I don't play it that often, so once the scariest part of the chapter is done with, it doesn't take much to finish up. As for Chapter 17, we bench Marcus just for this chapter to make room for all the characters I want to train, plus Priscilla to recruit a brother. I kinda have to rush this chapter a bit to get all the treasure chests, but at the same time I really wanted to funnel experience into my units. It's because of this that I just barely miss out on the Night Crest at the top of the map, which means Oswin isn't as viable now, which makes me pretty damn sad. On the bright side, we now have Lucius and Raven on our side, the power couple of FE7, and they're both pretty great too. Lucius is frail and has no luck, but he is still pretty damn powerful, and Raven is just a great unit all around. Hard mode bonuses aren't as great in this game, but they still really help him out. I plan on using both long term, so overall this chapter wasn't so bad. Chapter 17X, on the other hand, oh boy. This is actually one of my favorite chapters in the game because the enemies are actually scary. I mean, sure, you can practically skip the whole thing by going up the top path, but that's boring. We only have 6 slots though, including Hector's, so we really only have 5 choices. I decided to bring only the elite to this chapter, that being my 2 Jagans, Raven since he needs more levels and is already pretty damn good, and then Florina and Sarah for utility. Most Fire Emblem players would cower in fear with the boss of this chapter, Damien, moving immediately. Me, however, I see it as the opportunity that any elite Fire Emblem player should. See, him moving before the scary pirates means that I can take him out before the big hitters arrive. Thus, I don't have to deal with the 6 scariest early game enemies in the game, and Damien at the same time. My strategy would involve one virgin sacrifice in the form of Merlinus, but he knew what he was signing up for. Then we would funnel all of the enemies into a choke point and take them out one by one. I wanted someone else to get the boss kill, but unfortunately Hector's dick was way too huge and got a shit level up from it. Then after that, I just funneled the rest of the experience into Raven, and then deal with the 6 scary enemies with the help of Kent since he's super tanky. Chapter 18 is super rough. In fact, this chapter is super frustrating. We got yet another defense chapter with tight corridors, and me being me and wanting to train up everyone at once, I didn't bring either of my Jagans. This was one of the first chapters that I needed to really think about every single move that I did, as one flub up could very easily kill a few of my guys. Things like not having a lot of tanky units really hurt me here. It especially sucked because I wanted to rush things to get the guiding ring. However, the first half of the chapter was looking pretty good for me. Things got scary quite a few times, but through careful planning I was able to thin out their numbers. But around this time is where reinforcements start popping up a bunch. Things start getting scary again. Through my desperation I overextend and get Bartray killed, where I use my second freebie. Yep, I used my freebies on Bartray and Rebecca. After that embarrassment, I realized that there are too many reinforcements for me to get that guiding ring. It's a shame because Sarah was close to her max level, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. Matthew's girlfriend dies, but look on the bright side, we're promoting Raven! I figured that the next 6 levels wouldn't do too much for the guy, and just making certain I have an endgame ready unit at this point would be super cool. In fact, his promotion made the next chapter a breeze with the bottom half, and somehow Bartray wasn't doing the worst up top. I guess it's around this time that enemy quality goes down in comparison to your army, so that makes things not good per se, just easier. We also get Fiora, who is a personal favorite of mine, but we didn't have any room for her, so she got benched. Oh, and Dart, who could have gotten some favoritism in the future if something happened to Bartray. The rest of the chapter was simple enough. The boss was a little scary because he could still one-shot Raven with a crit, but with enough careful play we take him out. Then we got 19X, which actually isn't that bad at all. So long as you haven't been too reliant on magical units, the magic field will only serve to assist you, especially with Ion being an intimidating boss. If you aren't playing slower than a snail, you can very easily get to Ion before the magic seal goes away and get an easy win. So I mainly used this chapter as a good opportunity to train up my units, them mainly being Florina, Bartray, and Rebecca. As for Kashuna's gang, I wanted to get some experience for Bartray and Rebecca on the snipers, but they both miss, so Florina just gets the kill on one of them. Thankfully Rebecca gets the second kill, Bartray gets a godly level up, and we gang up on Kashuna. Now because I got Nils to level 7 in Lin mode, I'm able to do chapter 19XX. Where does it tell you can do this? It doesn't. What sort of sense does this make? Zero. Do I still appreciate the extra chapter to get some experience? Heck yeah. I send down Kent and Hector to the bottom path to stop the thief with the Draco Shield from escaping. Stat boosters are always worth it. However, since he took the second chest, I now needed to de-equip their weapons to prevent the thief from dying on counterattack. I mainly utilized this chapter to get levels for Lucius and Rebecca, with Rebecca getting very close to her promotion. Theodore was easy as pie since he likes to attack with Eclipse. Just had to weaken him up with Raven and finish him off with Rebecca. For one of the most cryptic chapters in the series, this wasn't too bad. Normally for chapter 20 I like to split off my army to divide and conquer, but in Hector hard mode, Legault and another thief shows up super early on. So because of that, I decide to send everybody down the main hallway to cut off Legault before he escapes. We have to deal with the mini-boss of the chapter, which I'm surprised isn't a more common thing in FE, but he isn't that bad thanks to being able to choke points. We get the kill with Rebecca, getting her to level 20, and get her promotion. We're also able to catch up to Legault, and then get the members card, which also means our free guiding ring. I give it to Sarah because she was long overdue for a promo. The legacy of Eliwood's awful performance continues on, and I spend a very long time on the chapter itself, siphoning experience through my unpromoted guys. Hey, if the experience is there, I'ma take it. The boss himself wasn't that bad, so I get the experience for Bartray, and then we get the funniest thing you can do in FE7 with the secret chops. One of them sucks and only really has some physics to buy, but then we get one with killer weapons at an affordable price. Every time I play the game, I stock up on these weapons and mainly use them throughout the rest of the game. It makes the mid-game pretty fun to just burst through, just critting everything. Either way, chapter 20 is conquered, Eliwood's father dies because shit genes run through his family, and we continue on to chapter 21. After the gauntlet of chapter 20, chapter 21 is a nice breath of fresh air. First of all, we get Ninian, who is in fact who my Discord friends wanted to see paired with Eliwood. This is my least favorite pairing in the game. So yeah, other than Sarah, my Discord friends are pretty cringe. Secondly, the enemies just aren't that scary despite this being a Fog of War map. I siphon some experience into Bartray because there's another hero crest this chapter, and I promote Florina 2 levels early because she's already doing amazingly. We get the hero crest, promote Bartray who, hey, at least is pretty tanky, and take out the boss with Eliwood. And he still isn't getting strength. 12 level ups later and he's gotten it once. I wanted to use him a lot because I love Eliwood, but man, he's making it so hard for me. Next we got chapter 22, which is a defend map. This chapter ain't so bad, as you get a lot of chokes to work with, and the enemies aren't that scary with our almost fully promoted team. Overall, we just hold chokes, slowly get to the boss, and take him out. Living Legend is super annoying because of 3 things. 1. Fog of War. 2. Sand. 3. Pent. Pent doesn't have a high chance of dying, but I don't want him to steal my experience since I want the Gaiden chapter. Actually, make it 4 things because we only get 8 units this chapter for some reason. Other than a few scares though, it isn't that bad. Our units are really damn good, we get the Goat Hawkeye, and we're able to siphon enough experience into Lucius to get him to level 20 before we promote him. Now we get Genesis, which is actually a super rough chapter. This chapter can net you a lot of experience, but the enemies are super scary as well. Thankfully, Kashuna is in the middle of the map with his magic seal, but that can only get you so far. Oh yeah, and want to know something dumb that Kashuna does in Hector hard mode and nowhere else? He moves! Yeah, he walks around and displaces where the magic seal effect is. Is this telegraphed where he'll go? No. So now we have to deal with unreliable checking of ranges. I suffered the very first turn because I calculated how far a sleep staff could hit, got on the edge, then Kashuna moves and causes Rebecca to fall asleep, and sadly Sarah's on the other side with the restore staff. He also leaves a few turns early, where all hell breaks loose. Hawkeye had to stay in a choke, and now there was just too many magic enemies. Also, Sarah got silenced as well, so there was nothing I could do. One of the best units in the game, but he just couldn't live through the chapter. This created a ripple effect that I had no idea even existed, but more on that later. Now thankfully, I was able to beat the bishop with the berserk staff into only using purge on my left side, but I still had to play super carefully. I had a massive heart attack near the end with Rebecca nearly dying, but she got a close call and dodged. On top of all that, Sarah got berserked right at the end, which sent my warning signals into overdrive. And of course she's going after Rebecca because she is just the damn punching bag this chapter. Thankfully, with quick thinking, I managed to get a light rune to put Sarah in timeout. And now, the scariest part of the chapter was over. The rest of the chapter went swimmingly, and I never wanted to play this chapter again. Now we get Four-Fang Defense, which, since we got enough experience for the Lords, we get the Linus version of the chapter, which I much prefer. Really, the scariest thing in this chapter are some of the obnoxiously powerful heroes. They really aren't too bad since we can just casually jump them, and so long as we stay out of the range of all the siege weapons, it ain't so bad. Linus also doesn't move at all, so it's very easy to beat on him. Not a super notable chapter. Then we get the filler chapter for Hector Hard Mode where we get Farina. We bench her, and the rest of the chapter is honestly really boring. You send a Pegasus Knight on the right side to deal with everything over there, send some sword units down south, and have the rest of your army rush the boss. There is nothing else to note here. Then on to the next chapter, which... Aren't I... I'm supposed to... Do I have to wait until after the chapter for that? Oh, little did I know. You're supposed to get the Heaven Seal in this chapter to promote either Eliwood or Lyn, but... Fun fact! You don't get your first Heaven Seal if Hawkeye dies. Why? I have no idea! It makes zero sense, and because of it, I will have to make the choice between Eliwood and Lyn later in the game. One is a sword unit with no strength, and the other is a sword unit with no strength. Joy. Anyways, this chapter wasn't bad either. Veda is terrifying, but she doesn't move if you aren't in her range, and you get so many units that clearing out the map isn't hard at all. We get new powerhouses like Pent and Louise, as well as the grand return of our two dragons. Don't worry, they won't last long. But yeah, we clear out the chapter nicely. Onto Pale Flower of Darkness, long and boring. Man, FE7 was a fine enough game to start with on my streaming series, but it was not a good choice for a video like this. This is a formality though, and we'll get to other better games later. We pick up Harkin for the Brave Sword, we get a crit one-shot on the Assassin boss, and then it's on to my least favorite chapter of the series, Battle Before Dawn. There is so much variance in an Iron Man run for this to be a fun chapter in the slightest. Like, holy hell, Jafar can just explode in the first 2 turns, and you have no control over that. Nino could get unlucky and get hit with a crit, and Zafil, well, it's unlikely for him to die by the fighters, but if you aren't rushing this Fog of War map, he'll get destroyed by a Sword Slayer. Again, Fog of War is awful. You can get sniped by boltings from the boss, and the enemy quantity is way too high. It's not a fun map to go through at all, and in fact the amount of enemies there caused Pent to get destroyed, which by extension meant that Louise was no longer usable. So yeah, that was a pretty heavy loss, and now if I wanted anima magic, I would have to raise Nino. Yeah, not happening. Also, because I wasn't perfect in my movement, I missed out on the boots. Man. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but I did get really damn lucky. Starting up the Gaiden chapter, I promote Lyn, where her strength finally hits double digits. Goodness. Thankfully though, since Eliwood is no longer usable, it means I can just utilize my great units for the rest of the game. Night of Farewells isn't a super difficult chapter, just kinda tedious. It's slow and boring mostly. Oh yeah, I misread ranges and Nino got smited by God. She was a force deploy and I wasn't going to use her, so Outside of the usual bad map design and bad enemy design, there was one more cool thing about this chapter. Utilizing supports, inflated stats, and Ninian, I decide to pilot a ballista with Rebecca and snipe Sonya with a critical one-shot. And that felt amazing. Oh yeah, and that lets us promote Legault. Interestingly enough, you get unique dialogue if Nino only dies this chapter, which is pretty cool. Now it was time for Cog of Destiny, one of the most notorious chapters in Hector Heart mode. The amount of total enemies in this chapter is well above 100, and most of them are magic users, including many staff-wielding mages and druids with busted stats. What was my master strategy for this? The Mind Glitch. In case you don't know, the Mind Glitch is a glitch that if you reset with proper timing after an enemy lands on a mine, you can control the enemy army. This lets you get exclusive weapons in some cases, and here it means I can discard every single enemy weapon on the enemy army. I have zero shame for this decision. This was not a chapter I wanted to play legitimately. At this point, the rest of the chapter was just free experience, and Hector finally gets his promotion. Then we get Hector's Armads chapter, where you get him and one other unit, because FE7 hates giving you units to use. This chapter is super short and easy, and mainly just lets Hector get some experience. We get a silencer on the unfortunately named Kame, Eliwood's lover dies, and then we get to the next chapter. I could play this chapter normally. Or I could use the warp staff. Yeah, as soon as you kill Denning, you no longer have to worry about reinforcements. And with this being a defend chapter, this chapter becomes piss easy. Oh, well, minus Kent dying. That's unfortunate. Oh, Marcus did too. See you in the sequel, buddy. But yeah, this chapter was pretty much over after 5 turns, so we take those. Battle preparation starts with me trying to kill Carla for the funny, but I wasn't able to have it happen. After that murder attempt, I try my absolute best to get Carla and Bartray to an A support, because if there's something you can guarantee with me and Fire Emblem, it's that I love garbage. Anyways, I just get some free experience from the arena, get some gear, and head out. Third to final chapter. I feel confident enough in my army to have them spread out. The gay squad can go up north, the scrubs go south, and whatever we can say about the last group goes down the middle. Even though the enemies can be pretty scary at times, so long as I didn't, say, position my Swordmaster near a Wyvern Lord, I was able to get through the chapter fairly easily. The last little section gets super heavy with enemies, but through the power of 1-2 range, the enemy falls before my... Oh wait, Geets died. Oops. Raven double crits Limstella, and the chapter is done. Now for Berserker Hell. Time for Carla to solo the entire chapter to get tons of So I use my last revive on Carla, get through the rest of the chapter, and get Carla to level 17. Because funny. Going into the final chapter, I have to carefully deliberate who I want to come in. For one thing, Florina and Sarah have to stay because they were voted on. Ninian isn't here because she's dead as hell. I want to keep Bartray, Carla, and Rebecca as I used rewinds on them specifically, and had a ton of fun raising them. That means 2 more slots, and I have to choose between Legault, Raven, and Lucius. This was a tough decision, as ultimately I love all 3 of them, but I decided to let Raven sit on the bench. Had to make sure nothing happened to him so he could go back home to his loving family, despite Lucius being set on the field too. He's amazing, but take solace in the fact that he won't die. Now it was time for the final chapter, and yeah, it's one of the best final chapters in the series. I won't give backhanded compliments or anything like that, it's a super well designed and climactic map. Turn 1 we get Yuhai and his 2 morphs, who have a massive flaw in their design. They're all 2 range only, so I used 3 of my 4 warp uses to bring Hector, Sarah, and Eliwood in a position where they can perfectly block off the enemies from attacking. As Sarah is mainly here for support and Eliwood is useless, this was a good way to utilize them. Not like it mattered much because Hector got a crit and Rebecca finished off Yuhai, so... With my multiple playthrough knowledge, I know that Kenneth comes in turn 2 at the top left corner, so I prematurely sent in a bunch of people up north to deal with them immediately. Amazingly, Florina is able to completely destroy Kenneth thanks to the Brave Lance and Lyn support bonuses. Nice one. Turn 3 is Brendan and he's easy peasy. I send in Legault to enemy phase him after Athos hits him with a Boltern, and Legault hits the Silencer. Turn 4 marks the return of Darren, who is pretty damn tanky and surprisingly fast, so I can't completely destroy him with magic. Or Lucius can just get a critical one-shot, hot damn! I love this guy so much. Turn 5 gives us Ursula and Germ. Giving Florina Phyllis Might and then attacking with a Brave Lance lets me completely destroy her, with another crit that would have killed anyways. Why do I keep on doing strategies that become pointless? Germ can't do much by himself, so I just let Florina attack on enemy phase while the Reed brothers start coming in. I'm able to position Rebecca in a way where she's able to enemy phase Linus and get a critical to finish him off. Then we just get Lloyd, who is scary if there's more enemies on the field. But with how efficient I was, he was easy to just jump and take down. Then we got Nurgle, who isn't that scary. It's more so that you get enemy druids with status staves on the first turn he comes in. But I use a warp staff and have Lyn deal with the scary man. I make sure that before we finish off Nurgle that we get both Bartray and Carla to their A support to make sure that Fur exists within the canon. And then weaken him to the point where Carla can get the kill. Beautiful. Then we have the Fire Dragon, who isn't that bad so long as you aren't stupid. Anyways, I was stupid and kept Carla in range of his attack, because in Hector Hard mode the Fire Dragon does a whole 2 more damage. Carla would have lived otherwise, but yeah, that's an oopsie. Anyways, at this point I just weaken the dragon and let Eliwood with his 8 strength unpromoted looking ass get the kill. Cause why the hell not? I then skipped the text as much as I could because this ending is long and boring. And that marks the end of my Hector Hard Mode playthrough. So how was it overall? Well, it's just like any other Hector Hard Mode playthrough I do. Long and tedious. FE7 was a perfectly fine game to start with for my stream series, but it's not a game I'm very fond of personally. With its meh story, meh music, at least for Hector mode, and terrible map design and unit design, it's not a game I go back to all that often. It's still a Fire Emblem game, so I have a bunch of fun with it anyways, and I made quite a few memories with it on this playthrough. Oh, and the characters are pretty damn great, can't forget to bring that up. So yeah, that's about it for this video. The next one on FE6 will be a bit because, at the time of editing this, it's not over, but don't expect to wait too long for it. In the meantime, I got some other projects that may or may not be exciting on the back burner, so I hope you enjoy that, and have a wonderful day.